Evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. It is so good to see you for our coconut cream anniversary, our cream pie anniversary. As I sent an email explaining that the 63rd year apparently did not have an official symbol. And so I have chosen the coconut cream pie, which just happened to be my favorite dessert, coincidentally, as the 63rd year symbol of our anniversary for the Y Club Toastmasters. And that's how many years we've been here. And I want to show you just behind me here, you can see in the distance is the actual charter, which was signed by Ralph C. Smedley back in 1958, April 12th. So this is a club that's been around for a while. But I want to talk about a little bit about on my first day, or my first icebreaker speech was on November 5th of 2013, and I stood in front of a group of Toastmasters at the Y Club in the Queen Alexandra Community League. And it was a moment I anticipated and dreaded and was fearing, and I think it was the longest walk I've ever taken in my life to go up to that lectern. And I don't think you'll ever find anybody who is probably more shy than I was. I did my speech. It passed by so quickly, I didn't even see it happening. It was called The Horse, the Hawk, and the Hound. And it was a speech about my animal friends I had as I was growing up. And afterwards, I was elated and excited and relieved, every emotion you could imagine. I was so happy to do that after it was done, but it took me a long time. But I want to say that there were 18 amazing supportive Toastmasters out there that day in the club listening to my speech. But in reality, there were hundreds of Toastmasters that day, because behind everybody there was somebody else who had passed the torch on, who had helped out, who had supported people in their progress in trying to practice their public speaking and learning. And so when I gave that speech, it wasn't just to the 18 people, it was to everybody in the past, all those past Toastmasters from April 12th, 1958. And I have to tell you, there were some amazing people along the way, and we stand on the shoulders of others before us. And so as I think of this day, I think of the Doug Russells, Pierre Casangos, Ron Chapman, David Harabi, and who passed on, but they were the heart of our club for a great period of time, and really were so supportive every step of the way. And I learned a lot, and I had a lot of fun along the way. So I remember those people along the way. And so as we go along, I just want everybody to remember, we're learning how to communicate. Every one of us, it has a world within us. And communicating gives us an opportunity to express what our world is. And so take advantage of it so that you can tell the rest of the world about your world. And so on that note, I want to welcome everybody. And I would like to go, I think we've already handled all of the housekeeping chores. So I'd like our grammarian to please tell us what the word of the day is to begin with, so we can get started on it right away.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm just going to try and share my screen here real quick. Share. If everyone can see that, you'll see that the word of the day tonight is commemorate. So commemorate, it's a little bit of a tongue twister for me, so don't expect me to use it a whole lot, but I expect you to use it a lot. It means to recall and show respect for someone or something. And as an example, we sing a song to commemorate their initiation. Whenever you hear the word of the day being used, you can kind of give a thumbs up or something like that whenever you hear it. And then I will record the use of the word of the day and kind of give a report at the end on how many times it was used, and who used it the most. So that is the word of the day. I will post it once more in the chat, but feel free to use it as much as you can tonight. Back to you.
What a great word for this 63rd celebration, this 63rd year. So I commemorate you, sir. I commemorate you for coming up with such an awesome word. Now I'm looking at my screen, and so I'm going to ask, first off, we have a guest, and I would like to welcome you as well. And it's Denise. And Denise, did you want to maybe just introduce yourself to the rest of us this evening before we go through the rest of our introductions?
Good evening. My name is Denise. I am a member of Narrators Toastmasters. I just joined about 6 weeks ago, so I am doing the Edmonton Toastmasters Club tour. I found you guys via Meetup. Happy to be here. Thank you for hosting me. I feel very, very, very underdressed though. But thanks.
You don't have to worry about that. The penalty, the financial penalty for that is very small. It's very small. It's only $100. So just send us a check. Anyways, very nice to have you here, Denise, and thank you for coming to our 63rd anniversary. I'm going to start, and some of the members here are past members, so I'm going to treat you as current members in a sense that I won't treat you as guests. As we go around, you can introduce yourself. And I'm going to start with our grammarian and one of our evaluators who's in the top left hand, so I'm going to do it that way. Please, Dennis, would you take 30 to 45 seconds to talk about your Toastmaster experience, what it was, what you want it to be?
Yes, good evening, everybody. My name is Dennis O'Brien. I joined Toastmasters 15 years ago. A couple of years ago, I took a little bit of a break, and I've been back for the last couple of years. When I first started Toastmasters, I joined because a friend of mine, he had 3 brothers. He asked all of them to be the best man in his wedding. None of them would do it, so he asked me, and I said, sure. And I decided if I was going to be the best man in his wedding and I was going to give that speech, I was going to do it right. So I joined Toastmasters. I had no idea what to expect. And on my first meeting, I was just blown away. I didn't even really know what was going on. All I know is that people were giving these evaluations and tips and ideas about speaking that I had never heard before. Things that just you don't think of when you think about speaking. You think that you have to get up, you have to give a speech, and you're expected to impress everybody. And the reality is that you're not even supposed to impress everybody, but you're just really trying to just connect with everybody. If you can connect with your audience and tell a story and leave an impression that way and be very authentic, that is really the best kind of speaking I find that works for me. So it's a pleasure for me to be here again and to be your Vice President of Education, and welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dennis. And I'm not sure if I actually introduced myself by name. I am Mark Pearson, which is the Toastmaster of the evening. I think I got started pretty fast on that coconut song, and things just went downhill from there. So moving on, to the right of me is Lang Lu. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lan. I've been a Toastmaster member in the White Club for, I think, almost 4 years. I've been enjoying every moment when I was in this meeting. I have the same kind of feelings as Mark when I first time stepped into the meeting room in the Queen Alexandra Community Center. I kind of feel very nervous and cannot even speak properly. But through this Toastmaster experience, it really builds up my confidence and allow me to speak not only to our Toastmaster members, but also have this courage to speak to a bigger group of audience. So I really appreciate this experience. And also I found it's a very good and friendly environment for me to grow in terms of improve my communication skill and also to do a speech. I really appreciate everyone's support and help me grow in this journey. And yes, I remember the first time I came to this the club. It was Mark, you welcoming me, And now you happen to be, I think, the oldest member in the club at the moment. So I really appreciate your support and yes, your encouragement. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Yes, I guess, I was thinking about that today, and it did occur to me that I think now I've been with the club for the longest period of time. But it's been fun. It's been a pleasure, and for me, it's maintenance, because I definitely need constant work. And if you don't practice, if you don't work on it, you lose it. That's how I feel. Now, to the right of Lang is one of our newest members, Bernadette. You are a past Toastmaster as well as now a current member of our club. Could you talk about your experience, past, present, and future, if you like?
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Bernadette Eitel, and I been part of Toastmasters, I think back, the first time was about 2001. It was an Indigenous Toastmaster club, and they were held, I think, in Grand McEwen. And I really enjoyed it. It was really a profound experience. And then I got busy with life and I moved on. And then I joined trying to think the name of it. It was held at the Brownlee building on Tuesday afternoon, I believe. And I cannot remember the name of it. So yeah, so I do enjoy it. It's time for me to revamp the way that I speak. I do a lot of and and. So it's one of the things I do want to work on. And also because it's COVID-19, I was getting bored and I thought, what else can I do? You can only crochet so many things, right? So anyhow, I am here. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you very much for that. Now, just below Dennis on my far left-hand side is Christian and Heidi. And if you would each like to take a moment to talk about your Toastmaster journeys.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Christian Roerick. I'm with the Y Club for almost 2 years. Like Lang, I'm enjoying it every time being here in a meeting. My reason why I joined Toastmasters, I had not really a lot of expectations. I had not any idea about what to expect, and I just joined because one of my colleagues is in, I don't know which club, but he is for a couple of years in a Toastmasters club, and he told me about this. And I felt that this could be something good for me as well, in order to learn more how to speak freely, because in my job I have to talk a lot with not a large crowd, but to my team and to management and to peers in my company. So I felt that will help me also to overcome some nervousness and also all my ums and and so that I'm more aware about this and try to avoid that. That's me. Glad to be here also tonight.
Good evening, Toastmasters. I am a former Toastmaster. I went into a break because I started to learn some new, or I got into a new journey, let's say it this way. And I'm still in it, learning trading. And it has been good because of COVID. So it actually has kept me quite busy, even though I still miss Toastmaster. And what I have learned, I still try, not only still, I keep trying to apply, removing M's and all these words that are unnecessary for communication. And I consider to come back one day. Thank you very much for the invitation. I felt quite excited, and I'm happy I was just away for a moment. I had another Zoom meeting and they couldn't log in, but everything worked out and I'm happy to be here tonight. Thank you very much. Very nice seeing you all again.
It's awfully good to have you.
Thank you.
And to your right on my screen is someone who's going to be doing tonight her first icebreaker. So Neha, would you like to speak a little bit about your, well, it's only been a couple of months yet, but your Toastmaster experience?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My name is Neha. I have been a part of Toastmasters now for a couple of months. I've really enjoyed it so far. I decided to join because, as most people, I wanted to improve upon my public speaking skills. And what really caught my attention to Toastmasters or made me really want to join it was actually the counter. When I first, after the first meeting I went to, I say ums and ahs and ands and so's a lot. And I thought this would be like a great way for me to like stop saying that, because I would have to be conscious and cognizant of how many times I use that. So that, and then over time, I realized there's a lot of other benefits, not just ums and ahs. So yeah, I'm really grateful to be a part of this experience. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Neha. To the right of you is a former Toastmaster and still my sister. It's Carla Pearson. Would you like to talk a little bit about your past experience?
Yes, I was a member about 3 years ago. I was a member for 2 years, and it was a lot of fun, excellent learning experience. I left just because I had a lot of stuff going on at work, but I think I'll be back eventually, if only to watch Mark do more coconut dances. Thank you.
Good to have you, and thank you for that faint praise. Appreciate it. And to the right of you, please welcome Pierre Casango.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, my history with Toastmasters is that my father, Chapman Casango, used to be a member of the Toastmaster. And then after that, Mark invited me to be a member in 2019. And in the time that I've been here, like initially, I didn't know what to expect, but as I joined more and more meetings, I found a purpose. It actually helped me to speak in public and be more effective as a communicator and how to voice out my style of communication in public. It even helped build back this type of assertiveness and just confidence that I was lacking in some time, and it to the point where I now am back to being fully employed and even am now a proud podcaster. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Oh, that's awesome. I have to confess, I haven't heard one of your podcasts yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Do you share those? Can you share that with me, or can you send me anything when you get a chance?
Yes, and I will be more than happy to share with you all the link. The podcasts are available on platforms including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify.
Okay, we're looking forward to the link. Thank you so much. It'd be best to send it through the Y Club Gmail account. If you forward it there, I'll forward it to everybody for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. And yeah, well, they say the less you do, the less you can, but the more you do, the more you can. So I think that's the good thing about what we do is the more we do it, the better we get. Now on the bottom left-hand corner is our speech evaluator for the evening. And what an amazing picture you put in the background. That's our charter. So great job, Leonel. And so please give us a little bit of a speech on your experience today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and most welcome guests. My name is Jose Lionel Concha. I am member of the Toastmaster group since 2015. I am competent communicator. Oh, it's not shown. Sorry. And I am commemorate joining to White Club using this background. And for me, the first time I came to Toastmasters, it was because I was working in a computer almost all day in a basement without any interaction with anyone. And I asked a friend, and he told me about Toastmaster, and it's a big difference. Not only practicing my English, but practicing my improvement about the public speaking and the way we communicate with others. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Well, thank you very much, Leonel. That is, working by yourself doesn't exactly enhance your communication skills. I can tell you for sure. So it's great to have you here, though. It is a lot of fun to have you, and we're all kind of growing together. Now, our next member that I would like to have her speak about a little bit. I'll tell you something. The other day, I was on Google on our Gmail account, and I looked at the Google Drive, and they said, "That's amazing. Google organized all of our pictures and everything." And I said, "Is there nothing Google cannot do?" And then I found out it was actually Karen. Karen Reed, would you give us a little bit? I was so impressed. I couldn't believe it, but I thought, well, magic happens after all. Apparently only when you got involved. Please, Karen, tell us a little bit.
Absolutely. It's the magic of Google, that's for sure. So I'm Karen. I joined Toastmasters about 6 months ago now. And my experience was I went to one Toastmasters group, which was really weird. I went to a second Toastmasters group, which was even weirder. And then I went to a third one, which was extremely bizarre. And then I procrastinated for about 18 months and thought about it. And then I went back to the least weird of all the Toastmasters groups that I went to. And I have to admit, I'm enjoying it every Tuesday evening. I'm not dragging myself here anymore. I know such glowing recommendations to commemorate our 63rd anniversary. So what I came here mostly for is because I feel like I can present a topic that I've researched because of all my roles and in my professional history, but I do not make small talk very well. I do a deep dive right to the really important things, like all the stuff nobody wants to talk about. And I also don't do impromptu speaking very well. I just panic and I panic and I panic more. So those are some of the things that I came to Toastmasters about. One of the most important things that I've learned so far is about the pause. And that allows me to gather my thoughts when somebody asks me a question, and then I'm not as freaking out as much, and I can actually speak and make sense. So thank you very much for the question, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that those clubs were weird, and my coconut dancing speaks to sanity. But anyways, thank you. And on the far right-hand corner, last but not least, is my niece, Casey, who was a former member as well. And both her and Carla, on our 60th anniversary, we couldn't have done it without them. So Casey, do you want to talk a little bit about your past experience?
Hello, everyone. I'm Casey. I started Toastmasters a long time ago. I've just been kind of on and off ever since. I would have to say the reason why I started Toastmasters wasn't so much because I had a problem with public speaking. I actually really enjoy it. I'm kind of like Karen. I'm really bad at small talk. I don't like small talk. I'd rather talk about things that nobody really wants to talk about. And also, I just want to say, Mark, I hope you saved me a piece of your coconut pie. But yeah, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
I will. I'll bring one. I'll bring one for you tomorrow morning when we. Yeah.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Mark, did you
Yes.
bribe your sister and your niece to attend? Are you giving them a really, really large piece of your coconut pie?
I can't talk about that.
Okay.
That's confidential.
That's family business.
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
Yes. We'll hear no more of this kind of talk. Anyways, thank you, everyone. I want to commemorate everyone for giving great introductions to yourselves. So well done. And now we also have a tradition as part of the meeting, which I think all Toastmaster clubs do, of doing either a toast or a joke. And I believe tonight we are going to have a toast from our Vice President of Education, and our giving a toast tonight will be Dennis. And take it away, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Mark. I wrote out this big toast to give tonight, and then Mark reminded me of somebody in the past. And so I'm going to push that aside, and we're going to go a little bit off the cuff because there's another good story, and it kind of explains the reason why I keep coming back to Toastmasters. We can all talk about why we joined initially because we want to become better speakers, but why do you stay? Why do you stay at Toastmasters? Why after 15 years am I back at Toastmasters and giving speeches and being part of these clubs? When I first joined Toastmasters, I went through my first year. I did quite a few speeches. I got my first designation, which back then was called a competent communicator. And then the club that I joined initially was called the Southern Lights, and they made me the club president in my second year. So I became the club president in my second year, and we had a really great year. We also had I think it was the 35th anniversary. We had a whole bunch of people come to our meeting. And one of those people that came to the meeting was actually Ron Chapman. And Ron Chapman is actually from the White Club, and he was a longtime member of the White Club. I believe that Ron Chapman was also one of the very first people, maybe the fourth person in Canada to become a distinguished Toastmaster. And Ron has had tremendous influence on Toastmasters throughout Alberta and Canada, and probably all over the world, and definitely at the White Club. But when we had this anniversary, I was the president. I was also the host and the Toastmaster of the meeting, and we did a great job. And Ron came up and he gave a great presentation and talk for our club at our anniversary. And at the very end of the meeting, when we closed it, he came straight up to me and he said, "You know what, Dennis, you did a great job tonight. You have unbelievable potential. You have unbelievable potential. I see great things in your future." And that's what Ron had said to me. And I said, thanks. And I told him how great his presentation was. But why do you stay at Toastmasters? Because that you make an impact. Every time you give an evaluation, you're making an impact. Every time that you're building somebody's confidence, and as a group, as we build our confidence, you're making an impact. And that's why you stay, and that's why you're here. And so for me, when Ron Chapman came up to me and said that to me at the end of the meeting, it was just a highlight of the meeting for me. So tonight, I want to everyone charge your glasses. Hopefully you've got glasses and something to drink. But I just like to make a toast to a longstanding member of the Y Club, somebody who has an impact on me, even in meeting when I was not a member of the Y Club. But please join me in a toast to Ron Chapman. To Ron Chapman.
To Ron Chapman.